Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 17.09.02. This is for the development undertaken between the 6th of September to the 19th of September. Beginning with the sprint goal, and we're delivering a key item from the diary project to support the overall management of tasks. Also to finalise the reports interface so that standard and custom reports can begin being plugged into Colleague 7. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, in this sprint, we've introduced a task management section, which displays an overview of all outstanding tasks created against a user. I'll be able to give a demo of this shortly. The reports area has been updated so that it's ready to run reports now. Ongoing, this will begin receiving reports, and I'll advise as and when these have been added. The company name has been added to the contact search. This was a data dictionary modification, but we've updated the standard database to ensure that it's included moving forwards. There were some minor text kernel updates delivered, which won't be noticeable to the user, but were important updates with regards to tracking CV parser usage. And there were some minor bug fixes to resolve based on client feedback. We'll now go for a short demonstration on the key features from this sprint. Okay, so the first area I'd like to cover, and it's really the main feature of this sprint, is the tasks area. And that's this option that's been added to the left-hand navigation here underneath the diary. But before we go into that section, what I wanted to do is just quickly revisit how tasks are created on the system. So that's been set in against any entity record. You have obviously the option to create a history. When you click on create history, it brings down the window there where you would add in your history details, your history type and so on. But you obviously have the option here for create a diary entry or create a task. Now, if you wanted to create a specific diary entry, that's more on the lines of an event that's occurring at a specific date and time, whereas the idea of a task is more about an operational day-to-day job that you need to do, such as calling someone, such as making sure you've sent an email or performed a certain function with a specific due date in mind, or perhaps a reminder associated with it, but perhaps not being big enough a event to require a diary entry going into your calendar, and that's the whole element behind tasks. So if we say in this scenario we've left a message for this chap, and as a task we want to call back tomorrow regarding new job role, and we'll give that a start date and a due date. Obviously these have been taken from the Outlook tasks area, so that supports the idea of it being a date where the task is due to be started by, but there being a due date which is different to that, so it supports both. You obviously have a priority level, and you have a reminder option as well, which I'll come back to on because we'll be updating that section shortly. But yeah, in terms of here, we can obviously apply some notes, discuss as an example, say, and then we'll hit save there. So that's created obviously the history record of the fact that you left a message for this candidate, but also it's created a task in that you need to obviously call that person tomorrow. So if we go across to the tasks area and we click on here, what that's going to do is bring through all of your tasks. And these are tasks that are held against your Outlook session within Office 365. So it's obviously an integration with Outlook in the true sense with regards to tasks. It's not a separate tasks area as such that's specific to colleague. As an example, if I go within Outlook here in the tasks area on Outlook, you can see that these are the tasks that are held within here. That obviously have all the different associated settings within here. So within colleague, you have these options. You can click on a task and it will pull down the partial view there, showing you the detail that's stored against the task. This was the task that we just created. Call back tomorrow, discuss new job role is there. You also have the link to open that candidate, but that associated link is also be stored here, and these will be icons relating to the entity type, so company, contacts, requirement, interview. If there's tasks associated, they'll all be associated there, and then that will have a link going to that necessary record. If you wanted to mark something as complete, So for example, if you've made that call, or if you've undertaken that task, you can mark it as complete, and that will obviously remove that task from that area. You have an option to sort by associated entities, and also by date ranges as well, similar to the history area. If you want to obviously have it so that you can sort by the appropriate tasks based on the associated time ranges and date ranges there. Just some points of note with regards to the tasks area. This is obviously a key additional element of diary and task management to enable the users so that they're able to manage their daily workloads. But it's one of many iterative items that we'll be enhancing into the product. So there'll be further options of this nature being added in. This is just initially another big sort of step towards that full diary management setup. So the option to create a task within this area hasn't been added as yet, and that will come. Also, I've mentioned before about the reminder, there being option an update relating to the reminder. That is, at the moment, the reminder, the time has been defaulted to midnight, which obviously is causing problems. So the reminder time is incorrect. We've got a further refined piece of work there to make sure that you can set the date and time of the reminder properly. So that's a known element associated with this. Also, just as a point of note as well, when you click on a reminder, these aren't editable fields. That's because of an Microsoft API bug that they're working on relating to being able to modify and update existing tasks. So you can obviously create tasks and you can complete tasks, but if you wanted to edit an existing task, at the moment with the Microsoft API the way it is, it creates a duplicate task. So that's just something that is currently known to Microsoft and they're working on, but we didn't want that to hold back us implementing this as a feature. So we've implemented it, and as it stands, when you look at the task, this is essentially a read-only area. The task is there. Obviously, from within Outlook, the task is also stored within here as well, and you can obviously open the task and obviously edit it within there should you wish. Yeah, essentially to give you access to tasks is just what we wanted to do as a primary objective to this iteration. So that's what we've done there. Okay, the next point relates to the minor update that's been made to the contact search to include the company name. So against search, obviously you have the option to select on the contact tab. That will bring through all of the contact fields that are searchable, and as you can see here, the company name has been added. So what you can do now is quite quickly type in the company name. It will bring through all of the contacts associated with that company, and then that gives you a quick ability there to bulk email, bulk SMS, say all of the companies, all of the contacts from a certain company, as the example. The last point to cover is just with regards to the reports area, and unfortunately it's not something I can fully demonstrate at this point. Essentially, it's the idea behind this reports area is so that it utilises the same technology that was essentially being used with SSRS against version 6, allowing for an interface where we could port across those version 6 reports into Colleague 7. They'll be refined further, but what that means is any custom reports that have been developed for clients essentially can be then ported across into this environment with relatively minimal tweaks and development needed. So the idea is that you go into the reports area, you would be able to select from within here your different reports, and based on your selection, the report criteria would populate within here, and the reports themselves would obviously run. As I say, it's not something I can demonstrate in this sprint, unfortunately, but hopefully in the next sprint I'll have an actual report that I can go through, and then that can obviously just begin to be populated as time goes on with more and more reports as we go. If you have any queries or feedback, please do get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, for those using Colleague 7, feel free to submit your enhancement requests via the user voice integration. The next video will be the sprint plan for 17.09.03, and as always, this will contain a high-level overview on the items we intend to work on during this sprint. Thanks for watching.